Mia stepped into the bustling restaurant, the warm glow of fairy lights dancing overhead, casting a soft ambiance that contrasted sharply with the turmoil swirling within her. The sound of laughter and clinking glasses filled the air, a cacophony of joy that felt painfully distant. She brushed a loose strand of hair behind her ear, her heart heavy with the recent memories of her breakup. As couples and friends celebrated, Mia felt like a ghost, drifting through a world that was alive and vibrant, while she remained firmly anchored in her solitude. She chose a small table in the corner, hoping to blend into the background. The menu lay before her, yet the words blurred as her mind raced back to the moments of love that once filled her life. She sighed, tracing her fingers absent-mindedly over the cover of the menu, wishing for a distraction, a way to escape the gnawing sadness that clung to her like a shadow. Nearby, Jake sat at a table, glancing at his watch for what felt like the 100th time. His friends were late, and he could feel the weight of awkwardness settle over him. He sipped his drink, his eyes wandering around the room until they landed on Mia. He noticed her forlorn expression, her posture slightly hunched, as if she were trying to shrink into herself. Something about her struck a chord within him, a silent call for connection that he couldn't ignore. Jake stood, smoothing down his shirt, and made his way over to her table. "Hey there," he began, trying to sound casual and friendly. "Isn't this place just beautiful? I mean, look at those lights." Mia looked up, startled by his unexpected approach. She met his gaze with a hesitant smile, one that barely reached her eyes. "Yeah, it is. Very festive." "I'm Jake," he introduced himself, extending a hand. "I was just admiring the decor while waiting for some friends who are, apparently, on island time." He chuckled lightly, hoping to ease her tension. "Mia," she replied, shaking his hand briefly. "Nice to meet you." Jake could see the flicker of sadness in her eyes, and he felt an urge to lift her spirits. "So are you here celebrating something special? Birthday? Anniversary?" "No, nothing like that," Mia responded, her voice quiet. She glanced down at the menu again as if it held the answers to her unspoken questions. "Just out for dinner, I guess." "Sometimes, it's nice to just treat yourself to a good meal," he said, leaning against the edge of her table, fully engaged. "I'm a photographer, and I often find inspiration in places like this. The energy, the stories in every corner, it's captivating." Mia lifted her gaze, intrigued despite herself. "A photographer? That sounds interesting. Do you have a favorite subject?" "People, definitely," Jake replied, his eyes lighting up with enthusiasm. "Capturing candid moments? The raw emotions that tell a story. It's like freezing time, you know? What about you? What do you do?" She hesitated, the weight of her recent past heavy on her tongue. "I used to write," she admitted softly, unsure of how much to reveal. "But it's been a while. I don't even know if I can anymore." "Writing is a beautiful way to express yourself. What kind of things did you write?" Jake encouraged, sensing her vulnerability. He was captivated by the shift in her demeanor, the way her eyes sparkled when she spoke about something she once loved. "Just reflections, I guess," Mia said, her voice barely above a whisper. "But I haven't felt inspired since my last relationship ended." She looked away, a wave of vulnerability washing over her. "It's hard to find the words when you feel so lost." Jake nodded, his heart aching for her. "I get that. Sometimes, life throws us curveballs, and it's tough to navigate through the chaos. But maybe it's in those moments of uncertainty that we find new perspectives." Mia met his gaze, surprised at how deeply his words resonated within her. "You really think so?" "Absolutely," he replied earnestly. "Every ending is just a new beginning waiting to unfold. You just have to be open to it." As she absorbed his words, a flicker of hope ignited within her, though she couldn't quite grasp it yet. In that moment, amid the laughter and celebration surrounding them, Mia felt a subtle shift, an opening, a possibility. As laughter and joy echoed around the restaurant, Mia sat in her corner, clutching the menu as if it were a lifeline. The vibrant atmosphere, filled with cheerful chatter and the clinking of glasses, intensified her feelings of isolation. She glanced up occasionally, watching families and friends celebrate together, their faces illuminated by happiness, while she felt like a ghost drifting through a world she no longer belonged to. Suddenly, she noticed a figure approaching her table. Jake, with his easy smile and warm demeanor, had taken a seat nearby, his gaze fixed on her with genuine concern. "Hey, I couldn't help but notice you look a bit lost in thought. Everything okay?" he asked, tilting his head slightly. Mia hesitated, caught off guard by his directness. "Oh, just thinking," she replied, forcing a smile that didn't quite reach her eyes. "It's a bit overwhelming in here, I guess." "Yeah, it can be," Jake admitted, glancing around at the joyful chaos surrounding them. "But I think it's nice. I'm Jake, by the way," he added, extending his hand. "Mia," she said, shaking his hand, feeling a warmth spread through her at the simple gesture. "Nice to meet you." "What do you think of the decorations?" Jake asked, shifting the topic to something lighter. "I mean, it's like a festival exploded in here." Mia chuckled softly, the sound surprising her. "It's bright," she said, her eyes scanning the colorful streamers and balloons. "Not exactly my style, but it's definitely festive." "I can appreciate that," Jake replied, leaning back in his chair. "I prefer something a bit more understated, but the energy here is infectious. I was just waiting for some friends, but they seem to have disappeared. Guess it's just me and you." Mia glanced at him, intrigued. "You come here often?" "Not really. I'm more of a grab a coffee and go type," Jake said, a mischievous glint in his eyes. "But I thought I'd try something different tonight. Plus, I'm a photographer, so I'm always on the lookout for interesting places." "Photographer?" Mia asked, her interest piqued. "That sounds exciting." "It has its moments," he said, his expression softening. "But it can also be lonely. I've spent many nights just me and my camera, capturing the world while feeling like I'm on the outside looking in." Mia felt a pang of recognition at his words. "I know the feeling," she confessed, her voice barely above a whisper. "I've been feeling pretty lost lately myself." "What happened?" Jake asked gently, his eyes narrowing with empathy. She hesitated, unsure if she wanted to delve into her pain, but something about Jake's earnestness made her feel safe. "I just got out of a relationship. It was complicated," she admitted, looking down at her hands. "Complicated how?" he pressed, though not in a pushy way. It was clear he genuinely wanted to understand. Mia took a deep breath, feeling the weight of her emotions bubbling to the surface. "I thought I was happy, but I kept pushing my dreams aside for someone else. And now, I don't even know who I am without him." Jake nodded, his expression thoughtful. "I think a lot of people go through that. It's easy to lose yourself in someone else, especially when you care deeply. But sometimes, it takes that loss to realize what you really want." His words struck a chord within her, resonating with a truth she hadn't fully acknowledged. "You might be right," she replied, her voice steadier now. "I guess I'm just scared of what comes next." Just then, Aubrey, the attentive waitress, approached their table with a conspiratorial smile. "Hey, I couldn't help but overhear you two. It's Mia's birthday, isn't it?" Mia's eyes widened in surprise. "What? No, it's not." But before she could finish, Aubrey had already dashed away and returned moments later with a small cake, a single candle flickering atop it. "Surprise! We're celebrating you tonight," she declared, beaming. Mia felt her cheeks flush with warmth, a mix of embarrassment and joy flooding her heart. "Oh my God, I can't believe you did this." "Of course, everyone deserves a little celebration, especially when you're feeling down," Aubrey replied, as the other patrons joined in, singing a cheerful birthday tune. Mia's heart swelled as she blew out the candle, making a wish she couldn't quite articulate. In that moment, surrounded by laughter and warmth, she felt a flicker of hope ignite within her. Perhaps this night, with its unexpected connections, was just the beginning of something new. Mia sat at the round table, her heart still fluttering from the unexpected warmth of the birthday cake celebration. She glanced at Jake, who was animatedly sharing a story about one of his recent photography trips. He spoke with a passion that was contagious, his words painting vivid images of far-off places and breathtaking landscapes. Mia found herself captivated, momentarily forgetting her own troubles as she leaned in, her curiosity piqued. "And there I was, standing at the edge of a cliff in Iceland," Jake said, his eyes sparkling with excitement. "The wind was howling and the view was absolutely breathtaking. It felt like I was on the edge of the world. I remember thinking, if I could capture this moment, I could share it with others, make them feel the same awe I felt." Mia nodded, her heart aching a little. "That sounds incredible. I wish I could see the world like that," she admitted, her voice soft. I used to think I could write about places like that, but I haven't been able to put pen to paper since everything fell apart. Jake noticed the shift in her tone, the subtle shadow that crossed her face. You know, it's okay to feel lost sometimes. I've had my share of struggles too, he said, his voice gentle. But those moments can lead to the most profound stories. Mia looked at him, surprised by the depth of his understanding. What do you mean? She asked, curiosity flickering in her gaze. He hesitated for a moment, then took a deep breath. I lost my sister a few years ago. It was devastating. I thought I'd never be able to take a photo again, let alone enjoy life. But eventually, I realized that capturing beauty was my way of honoring her memory. It helped me find purpose again. Mia felt a lump in her throat as she absorbed his words. I'm so sorry, she whispered, feeling a connection to his pain. I can't imagine how hard that must have been. It was, Jake replied, his expression solemn. But sharing those experiences, whether through photos or stories, can help heal. It's like you're not just reliving the pain, you're transforming it into something beautiful. Aubrey, who had been quietly listening, leaned forward, her eyes glistening. I get that. I've been struggling to pursue my passion for art because of family expectations. Sometimes I feel like I'm stuck in a box, and it's suffocating. Mia felt her heart race as she realized how much she related to Aubrey's words. I know what you mean. I feel like I've been stuck too. After my breakup, I just couldn't find the words to express myself anymore. It's like I lost my voice. Maybe it's time to find it again, Aubrey suggested softly. We all have our battles, but sharing them can lighten the load, you know? It's like therapy. Jake nodded in agreement, his gaze steady on Mia. Exactly. Sharing our stories can create connections and remind us that we're not alone in our struggles. Feeling a surge of courage, Mia decided to open up. I've been carrying this weight of confusion and insecurity since my relationship ended. It made me question everything. My worth, my dreams. I didn't know how to move forward. Silence enveloped the table as her confession hung in the air. Jake and Aubrey exchanged glances, both appearing to absorb her vulnerability. Finally, Jake spoke, his voice warm and reassuring. You're not alone in feeling this way, Mia. It's okay to doubt yourself, but it's important to remember that those doubts don't define you. And you have so much to offer, Aubrey added, leaning closer, her eyes filled with sincerity. You're here, sharing your story. That takes courage. Maybe you just need to give yourself permission to explore your passions again. I felt a flicker of hope ignite within her. Maybe you're right, she said, her voice gaining strength. I've been so consumed by my past that I forgot to look forward. I want to write again, to find my voice. Jake smiled, a glimmer of encouragement in his eyes. Then let's help each other. We can share our stories, our dreams, and support one another. It's a journey, but it's one worth taking together. Just then, Aubrey, inspired by the moment, chimed in. Let's make a pact, a promise to support each other in pursuing our dreams. No more holding back. Mia's heart swelled at the thought. For the first time in a long while, she felt a sense of belonging, a flicker of possibility. I'd love that, she replied, her voice steady. Let's do it. As they shared their smiles and laughter, the burdens they had carried began to feel lighter, and the warmth of their newfound connection enveloped them like a comforting embrace. Mia sat at the table, the remnants of the birthday cake still on her plate, feeling a warmth that had been foreign to her for months. The glow of candles and the laughter of strangers faded into a comforting background as Lisa, the restaurant owner, approached their table. With her vibrant presence, she seemed to radiate an infectious energy that drew everyone's attention. Mia, darling, Lisa began, her voice smooth and inviting. I couldn't help but notice how you lit up during that little celebration. It's amazing what a bit of kindness can do, isn't it? Mia smiled, a soft blush creeping onto her cheeks. It really was a wonderful surprise. I haven't felt this happy in a long time. Lisa leaned in closer, her eyes twinkling. You know, I see so much potential in you. Have you ever thought about exploring your passions? You mentioned you like to write, right? Mia hesitated, the weight of self-doubt creeping in again. I used to write a lot, but I don't know. After everything, it feels pointless. Like, who would want to read what I have to say? Nonsense, Lisa replied, her voice firm yet encouraging. Your voice matters. You have stories to tell. just like everyone here. We've all been through something, and sharing those experiences can create something beautiful. Jake, who had been listening intently, chimed in. I agree with Lisa. As a photographer, I've learned that every picture tells a story, just like every piece of writing does. Sometimes it's the struggles that inspire the best art. Mia looked from Jake to Lisa, feeling a flicker of hope ignite within her. But what if I can't find the right words? What if I fail? Failure is just part of the journey, Aubrey interjected, her voice filled with conviction. I've been there too. Every artist faces doubt, but you have to give yourself a chance. You never know what you might create if you allow yourself to be vulnerable. The atmosphere shifted, the weight of shared experiences binding them together. Lisa reached for a small sketchbook resting on the table. Aubrey, let me show Mia something. She opened the book, revealing pages filled with beautiful sketches and heartfelt notes. These are my dreams, my struggles. I've learned to express myself through art despite the fear. Mia leaned closer, her curiosity piquing. These are incredible, Aubrey. I had no idea you had such talent. Aubrey smiled shyly, her cheeks flushing. Thank you, Mia. It hasn't been easy for me either. I've faced pressure from my family to take a safer path, but I've realized that following my passion is what truly makes me happy. Exactly, Lisa exclaimed, her enthusiasm infectious. You see, Mia, everyone here has faced their own battles. It's what makes us human. You have the power to turn your pain into something meaningful. Trust me, writing can be incredibly cathartic. Mia's heart raced at the thought. I don't even know where to start. Jake leaned back in his chair, a thoughtful expression crossing his face. What if you began by writing about your experiences here, about the connection you're forming with all of us? It could be the first step towards something bigger. Mia pondered Jake's suggestion, the idea swirling in her mind. That's interesting. I never thought about writing about my life like that. It could be a way to process everything. And you don't have to do it alone, Aubrey added, her eyes sparkling with encouragement. We can be your support system. We're all in this together. Taking a deep breath, Mia felt a surge of determination. Okay, I'm willing to try. I think it's time to reclaim my voice. Lisa clapped her hands together, a bright smile lighting up her face. That's the spirit. I can't wait to see what you create, Mia. You already have everything you need inside you. Just trust in your abilities. Mia nodded, feeling a newfound sense of excitement bubbling within her. For the first time in a long while, she felt the weight of her doubts lifting, replaced by the possibility of growth and connection. As laughter and conversation filled the air around them, she glanced at her new friends, feeling grateful for the unexpected bond they had formed. Here's to new beginnings, Mia said, raising her glass to toast with the others. I'm ready to take this leap. Cheers to that, they all echoed, their voices harmonizing in a chorus of hope and friendship. As laughter and music echoed lightly in the cozy restaurant, Mia sat at the table, feeling a warmth enveloping her that she hadn't experienced in a long time. The camaraderie she found with Jake and Aubrey had sparked something within her, igniting a flicker of hope. They had shared stories, vulnerabilities, and dreams, creating a bond that felt both genuine and profound. Okay, everyone, Lisa, the restaurant owner, said, joining the group with her vibrant energy. I have an idea. What if we make a pact? A promise to support each other in our creative journeys. Her eyes sparkled with enthusiasm, and the atmosphere shifted. Filled with anticipation, I love that, Aubrey exclaimed, her voice filled with excitement. We could help each other with our projects and keep each other motivated. Mia looked around at her new friends, feeling a rush of connection. Yes, let's do it. I want to be part of something meaningful, she replied, her voice steady despite the flutter of emotions in her chest. Jake leaned forward, his gaze serious. I think this is important. We all have our struggles, but we can also lift each other up. We've already started doing that tonight. Aubrey nodded enthusiastically. Imagine how powerful it would be to know we're all in this together. We can share our progress, our failures, and our successes. It will keep us accountable. Lisa smiled warmly, her hands clasped together. Then it's settled. We'll make this pact. Let's write down our goals and check in with each other regularly. We can create a supportive community right here. Mia felt a swell of gratitude as she listened to them, The idea of mutual support was intoxicating, and she realized how starved she had been for connection. What if we also share our work? Like, I could read some of my writing, and you both could show your art? She suggested, her heart racing at the thought. Absolutely, Jake replied, his eyes lighting up. We should create an exhibition. We could showcase our work and invite the community in. It would be a perfect way to celebrate our creativity. An exhibition? Aubrey's eyes widened. That's a brilliant idea. We could combine art and literature, and it would highlight what we've all been working on. Mia felt a wave of excitement wash over her. The mere thought of sharing her writing with others felt like a leap into the unknown. But the encouragement from Jake and Aubrey made it seem possible. I'd love that. I've always wanted to share my stories, but I never knew how to start. Lisa clapped her hands together, her enthusiasm infectious. This is going to be amazing. We can transform the restaurant into a vibrant space filled with creativity. Let's brainstorm some ideas for themes and how to bring it all together. As they began discussing logistics, Mia felt a sense of belonging wash over her. She exchanged glances with Jake, who was scribbling down ideas on a napkin, and Aubrey, who was animatedly discussing potential designs for the display. They were all brainstorming together, building a vision that felt alive and palpable. Okay, let's make a list of everything we need, Jake said, his focus shifting to the task at hand. We can start by deciding on a date for the exhibition. Mia's heart raced as she realized this was a significant step for her. How about in a month? That should give us enough time to prepare and get the word out, she proposed. Perfect, Aubrey chimed in, and we can create promotional materials together. I can design some posters. Lisa's eyes sparkled. I can help with the logistics of setting up the space and getting the word out to the locals. We can make this a community event. Mia felt herself glowing with excitement. She had never imagined that a simple night out could lead to such a transformative experience. I can't believe this is happening, she said, her voice trembling with emotion. I never thought I would find friends who understand me like this. Jake grinned, his smile infectious. Neither did I. This is just the beginning for all of us. We're going to create something beautiful together. As they continued to share ideas, Mia felt a surge of hope and determination. The pact they had formed felt like a safety net, a promise that they would not only support each other, but also challenge each other to grow. For the first time in a long while, she felt ready to embrace her dreams, knowing she wouldn't be alone on the journey. In the days following their unforgettable night at the restaurant, Mia found herself engulfed in a newfound determination to write. The stories shared among friends had ignited a spark within her, one that had long been dormant. She sat at her small desk, sunlight streaming through the window, illuminating the blank pages of her notebook. The words flowed like a long-awaited river, and she could hardly keep up with the torrent of thoughts that rushed to the surface. Maybe I really can do this, she murmured to herself, her pen flying across the paper. The echoes of Jake's and Aubrey's stories resonated in her mind, filling her with inspiration and a sense of belonging she hadn't felt in years. I just need to be honest, she whispered, recalling Jake's poignant recount of his sister's passing and how it had reshaped his outlook on life. At that moment, her phone buzzed on the desk, breaking her concentration. It was a message from Jake. Hey, are you free to meet today? I'd love to hear what you've been working on. Mia smiled, her heart racing with excitement. She quickly typed back. Absolutely. Can I bring what I've written? Of course, can't wait to see it. Later that afternoon, they met at a cozy cafe, the air filled with the rich aroma of freshly brewed coffee. Jake was already seated at their usual table, his camera resting on the chair beside him. As she approached, he looked up, a warm grin spreading across his face. Mia, you look inspired, he said, his eyes sparkling with genuine enthusiasm. I really am, she replied, settling into her chair. I've written a lot since our last meeting. It feels freeing. That's amazing. I can't wait to hear all about it, he encouraged, leaning closer, his curiosity palpable. Mia took a deep breath, her fingers lingering over the pages of her notebook. It's about letting go of the past and finding your voice. I want to explore how our experiences shape us. Jake nodded thoughtfully. That's powerful. I think so many people can relate to that. You're already resonating with the theme of connection that we've been discussing. As she read her passages aloud, she felt a mix of vulnerability and exhilaration. The words spoke of heartbreak, friendship, and the journey of self-discovery. When she finished, Jake was silent for a moment, absorbing what he had just heard. "Mia, this is wonderful," he finally said, his voice steady. "You have a real gift. It's raw and honest, and that's what makes it special. You should keep going." A warm flush spread across her cheeks at his praise. "Thank you, Jake. That means a lot coming from you." Just then, Aubrey arrived, her presence brightening the room. "Sorry I'm late. I got caught up in a project," she said, her hair bouncing as she plopped down at their table. She glanced between them, a curious smile forming. "What are you two talking about?" "Mia's writing," Jake said, beaming. "It's incredible." "Really? That's amazing," Aubrey exclaimed, her eyes lighting up. "I'd love to hear it too." Mia felt a wave of encouragement wash over her. With newfound confidence, she shared her writing once more. As she spoke, she noticed how both Jake and Aubrey listened intently, their expressions full of support and genuine interest. "That's exactly what I'm talking about," Aubrey said, clapping her hands together when Mia finished. "You have to keep this going. We should have regular meetups to bounce ideas off each other." Mia's heart soared at the suggestion. "Would you both really want to do that?" "Absolutely. I could use the feedback," Jake said, nodding enthusiastically. "And I'd love to share some of my photography ideas with you both." "Same here," Aubrey added, her excitement infectious. "We're all in this together, right?" Mia felt a swell of gratitude. It was a feeling she hadn't anticipated, this connection, this sense of community. "I never thought I would find such support," she admitted softly, her voice barely above a whisper. Jake smiled warmly. "That's what friends are for. We're here to lift each other up." As they continued to discuss their ideas, Mia realized that she had not only found a passion for writing, but also a newfound family in Jake and Aubrey. The possibilities seemed endless, and for the first time in a long while, she felt a sense of hope blossoming within her. With each word, each shared laugh, and each moment of vulnerability, they were weaving a tapestry of friendship, creativity, and healing, a bond that would continue to guide them on their individual journeys. As days turned into weeks, the bond between Mia, Jake, and Aubrey grew deeper, their shared laughter and confidences filling the once quiet corners of the restaurant with a vibrant energy. One sunny afternoon, they gathered at their favorite table, a cozy nook by the window, adorned with potted plants. The air was fragrant with the aroma of fresh coffee and baked goods, and the sunlight cast a warm glow over their sketches and notes spread across the table. "I have an idea," Jake announced suddenly, his eyes sparkling with excitement. "What if we hold an exhibition? My photographs, and you two can showcase your writing and art. It could be a celebration of our journeys and everything we've created together." Mia looked up from her notebook, her heart racing. "An exhibition? Like a real one?" She could hardly believe what she was hearing. The thought of sharing her writing publicly filled her with both exhilaration and trepidation. "Yes," Jake nodded enthusiastically. "We could use the restaurant. It's the perfect space, and Lisa would love to support us. Imagine the community coming together to appreciate our work." Aubrey leaned forward, her eyes wide with intrigue. "I love it. We could even invite local artists and writers. It could be a big event." She was animated now, her hands gesturing as she spoke. "We could have live music, maybe even an open mic for poetry readings." Mia felt a warmth blossom in her chest. This was more than just an exhibition. It was a chance to showcase their journeys, to share their stories with others who might be feeling lost, just as they once had. "What if we call it New Beginnings?" she suggested, her voice trembling slightly with excitement. "It could represent all of us stepping into our new paths." "Perfect," Jake exclaimed, clapping his hands together. "New beginnings it is. We'll make it something special." They spent the next hour brainstorming ideas, jotting down notes and sketching out plans. Mia felt a sense of purpose wash over her as she envisioned her words being read aloud, her stories resonating with others. "I want to write something that captures how we've all transformed," she said thoughtfully. "Something that inspires others to embrace their own journeys." Aubrey smiled, her enthusiasm infectious. and I want to create pieces that reflect the emotions behind those stories. Art has this incredible power to communicate what words sometimes can't. As they continued discussing, the excitement was palpable. They imagined banners adorned with their work, a gallery of photographs lining the walls, and a cozy corner for readings and performances. Mia felt a sense of gratitude for this newfound friendship that was encouraging her to step beyond her comfort zone. Days passed, and with each meeting, they dove deeper into their preparations. Mia found herself writing more than ever, pouring her thoughts and feelings onto the pages of her notebook. She was invigorated, inspired by the support of her friends. One evening, they gathered at the restaurant once again, the atmosphere buzzing with anticipation. "I can't believe how quickly the exhibition is coming together," Jake said, leaning back in his chair with a satisfied grin. "I just finished editing my photos, and I think they look great." Aubrey nodded, her eyes gleaming with excitement. "I've been sketching ideas for my pieces, and I can't wait to see how they all come together. It's going to be magical." Mia smiled nervously, glancing down at her notebook. "I'm trying to finalize my story, but I keep getting stuck." Jake leaned forward, his expression earnest. "Remember what we talked about, Mia. This is your story. Write from your heart. Don't worry about perfection, just let it flow." Mia took a deep breath, feeling that familiar surge of self-doubt creeping in. But as she looked at her friends, she felt a sense of reassurance. "You're right, I just need to trust myself." "Exactly," Aubrey chimed in. "We're all in this together. Let's make sure we support one another, no matter what." With a renewed sense of determination, Mia began to envision her words intertwining with Jake's photographs and Aubrey's art, creating a tapestry of shared experiences. The excitement of the exhibition loomed ahead, and with it, the promise of new beginnings, not just for themselves, but for everyone who would attend. As they prepared to leave, Mia felt a rush of gratitude for this journey. She looked at her friends and said, "I can't wait to see how everything turns out. I feel like this is just the beginning of something incredible." Jake and Aubrey nodded, their faces lit with hope and anticipation, ready to embark on this new chapter together. The day of the exhibition arrived, and the atmosphere in the restaurant was electric with anticipation. Mia stood at the entrance, her heart racing as she took in the sight of the transformed space. The walls, once adorned with mundane decor, now showcased vibrant pieces of art, each telling a story of resilience and creativity. The air was filled with the mingled scents of gourmet food and sweet confections, enticing guests as they filtered in. "Mia, are you ready?" Jake's voice cut through her thoughts, and she turned to see him adjusting the frames of his photographs, a nervous smile playing on his lips. "I think so," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "I just hope people like my writing." "Of course they will. You've poured your heart into it," Jake reassured her, placing a hand on her shoulder. "Besides, we're all in this together. Just look around." He gestured to the bustling crowd, a mix of friends, family, and curious locals, all eager to see what the evening had in store. As the clock struck 6, Lisa, the restaurant owner, stepped onto a small makeshift stage at the front. "Welcome everyone," she called out, her voice warm and inviting. "Tonight, we celebrate not just art and literature, but the stories that connect us all. I'm so proud of Mia, Jake, and Aubrey for sharing their creativity with us." The applause that followed filled Mia with a warmth she hadn't anticipated. She exchanged glances with Aubrey, who stood nearby, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "We did it," Aubrey whispered, her voice filled with wonder. "Yeah, we really did," Mia replied, her nerves giving way to a sense of belonging. She took a deep breath, preparing herself to present her work amidst the supportive energy surrounding her. As guests began to mingle, Mia found herself engaging in conversations, sharing her experiences and inspirations behind her writing. A young woman approached her, eyes wide with interest. "Your piece about overcoming heartbreak really resonated with me. It's like you were speaking directly to my soul," she said, her voice trembling slightly. Mia felt a rush of gratitude. "Thank you. I wrote it during a really tough time," she admitted, her heart swelling with understanding and connection. Meanwhile, Jake was captivating a small group with tales of his travels. "I once found myself stranded on a remote island, and the only way to communicate with the locals was through gestures. It was the most humbling experience of my life, he laughed, his eyes gleaming with the thrill of storytelling. Did you at least get some good photos? One of the guests asked, chuckling. Absolutely. The best part was discovering the beauty in the unexpected. Jake replied, his enthusiasm infectious. As the evening progressed, Mia began to feel more at ease. She and Aubrey exchanged supportive glances, their friendship deepening with every compliment and conversation they shared. The trio had created something beautiful together, and the recognition they received was a testament to their hard work. When the time came for a toast, Mia, Jake, and Aubrey gathered near the stage, glasses raised high. To friendship, Jake announced, grinning widely. May we always inspire each other to pursue our dreams. To new beginnings, Aubrey chimed in, her voice bright with joy. Mia took a moment to reflect on how far she had come, and to finding our voices, she added, feeling a rush of emotion. I couldn't have done this without both of you. Thank you for believing in me. The glasses clinked together, and they took a sip, laughter bubbling around them. The moment felt surreal, a culmination of their journeys woven together in the celebration of art and connection. Just then, a guest approached with a beaming smile. Mia, your writing is incredible. I'd love to feature it in our local magazine, she exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Mia's heart raced, and she exchanged a look of disbelief with Jake and Aubrey. Really? You mean it? She asked, her voice tinged with disbelief. Absolutely, your words moved me, and I think our readers would love to hear your story, the woman replied, her enthusiasm unwavering. As the night continued, Mia found herself surrounded by laughter, encouragement, and a newfound sense of purpose. The exhibition had become more than just a showcase of their work. It was a celebration of their resilience, their friendships, and the journeys they had undertaken together. In that moment, amidst the clinking of glasses and the warmth of shared stories, Mia felt a sense of belonging she had never experienced before. She was exactly where she needed to be. As vibrant celebrations of the exhibition reverberated through the restaurant, a warm cloud of laughter and chatter enveloping Mia, Jake, and Aubrey. Glasses clinked, and the air was charged with the sweet scent of success. But amidst the joy, Mia's phone vibrated insistently on the table, pulling her gaze away from the festivities. The moment she saw her ex-boyfriend's name flashing on the screen, a chill ran down her spine. Everything okay? Jake asked, noticing the change in her expression. He leaned in slightly, concern etched on his face. Mia hesitated, her heart racing as she bit her lip. It's him. He wants to talk, she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. The weight of those words hung heavily between them, overshadowing the lively atmosphere around them. Aubrey, who had been watching the exchange with wide eyes, leaned forward. What do you think? Are you going to meet him? She asked, her tone a mix of curiosity and concern. Mia felt a surge of emotions, confusion, anxiety, and a flicker of hope. I don't know. I thought I was past this, but now. She trailed off, unable to articulate the tumult within her. She looked at Jake, seeking guidance. What if it just messes everything up? I finally feel like I'm moving forward. Jake took a moment, considering her words. Look, Mia, the past can be a tricky thing. It's natural to want closure, but remember, it's your journey. You've come so far tonight, surrounded by friends who care about you, he said, gesturing toward the lively crowd celebrating around them. I know, but what if it just drags me back into that mess? Mia murmured, her brow furrowing. I don't want to lose this newfound clarity. Aubrey reached out, placing a comforting hand on Mia's arm. You have to do what feels right for you. If you think meeting him will help you find peace, then maybe it's worth it. But don't forget, you're stronger now. You have us, she said, her voice steady and reassuring. Mia looked between her friends, feeling a swell of gratitude. You're right. It's not about him, really. It's about me and what I need to say. I don't want to feel vulnerable again. I've only just started to feel like myself, she confessed, her voice trembling slightly. A moment of silence enveloped them as they processed her words. The laughter and music from the celebration faded into the background, replaced by the weight of Mia's internal struggle. Finally, Jake broke the silence. Just remember, no matter what happens, you've got us. You're not alone in this, he reaffirmed, his eyes locked onto hers, filled with sincerity. Taking a deep breath, Mia nodded. Okay, I'll meet him. I need to confront my feelings. The resolve in her voice surprised even her. She had spent so long running from her emotions, and now she was ready to face them head-on. As the evening wore on, Mia found herself lost in thought, the anticipation of the meeting swirling in her mind. The celebratory atmosphere around her was still vibrant, but it felt oddly distant. Hours later, just as the crowd began to thin, she stood outside the restaurant, the cool night air brushing against her skin, a reminder of the uncertainty ahead. When the time came, she found herself sitting at a small cafe across town, her hands nervously fidgeting with the napkin on the table. The familiar face of her ex-namorado approached, and as he sat down, Mia felt a rush of old memories flood her mind. "Hey," he said, his voice softer than she remembered. "Hi," Mia replied, her heart pounding in her chest. "Thank you for coming." There was a brief pause as they both settled into the moment, the silence heavy with unspoken words. After gathering her thoughts, Mia finally spoke. "I wanted to talk about everything, about us and how things ended." He nodded, his gaze searching her face. "I've been thinking about that too. I know I messed up, and I'm sorry," he began, but Mia cut him off, her voice rising slightly. "I need to say something first," she interjected, the firmness in her tone surprising herself. "I've spent so long trying to understand what went wrong, and I thought meeting you would help. But I realized it's not about blaming you for our past. It's about me accepting what happened and moving on." Her ex looked taken aback, and for a moment, she wondered if he could truly grasp the significance of her words. "Mia, he started, but she pressed on. "I don't want to fall back into old patterns. I need to be honest with myself and with you. I've learned so much about who I am since we broke up, and I won't let that be taken away again." As she spoke, clarity washed over her, and she felt a weight lifting from her chest. The closure she had yearned for was not dependent on his acceptance, but rather on her own journey of self-discovery. The conversation continued, each word bringing her closer to the acceptance she had long sought, and in that moment Mia understood. She was ready to embrace her future. After the conversation with her ex-boyfriend, Mia walked back to the restaurant, her heart lighter than it had been in months. The hum of laughter and chatter greeted her as she pushed open the door, and she felt a rush of warmth at the familiar sight of Jake and Aubrey animatedly discussing the evening's success. "Mia," Aubrey exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with excitement. "You won't believe the feedback we received. People loved your writing." Mia felt a blush creep up her cheeks. "Really? I didn't expect that," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. Jake looked up from the table, his expression earnest. "You deserve every bit of it, Mia. Your words resonated with everyone. It's like you put their feelings into a beautiful narrative." As she settled into her chair, Mia took a deep breath, feeling the weight of lingering doubts begin to dissipate. "I had a long talk with him," she confessed slowly, glancing between her friends. "It wasn't about rekindling anything. It was more about closure. I needed to confront those feelings." Aubrey leaned forward, her brow furrowed with concern. "And how did it go?" Mia smiled softly, her eyes shimmering with newfound strength. "It was tough, but I realized something important. I don't need his approval or validation. I'm finally ready to move on." "Good for you," Jake said, his voice filled with genuine pride. "That's a huge step, Mia. You've come so far." As they celebrated her small victory, the conversation shifted to Jake. There was a moment of quiet before he spoke again, his tone contemplative. "You know, I've been thinking a lot about what this exhibition meant for me," he began, his gaze distant as he stared at the flickering candle on the table. "It was more than just showcasing my photos. It was a way for me to process the loss of my sister. I'm still grappling with that pain." Aubrey reached out, placing her hand over his. "You've shown so much strength, Jake. Sharing your story through your art is incredibly brave." Mia nodded, her heart swelling with empathy. "We're all in this together. It's okay to be vulnerable." Jake looked at them both, his eyes glistening with unshed tears. "I want to keep this going. I've been toying with the idea of starting a collaborative project, a blend of photography and writing, something that reflects our experiences and how we've all grown. What do you think?" Aubrey's expression brightened and she squeezed Jake's hand. "I love that idea. We could create something that highlights our journeys and inspires others." Mia felt a surge of excitement at the thought. Yes, we could hold a workshop, invite others to share their stories, and combine them with visual art. It could be cathartic and empowering. Jake smiled, a spark of creativity igniting in his eyes. Exactly. We could even showcase it here at the restaurant. Lisa would love to support it. Aubrey's enthusiasm was palpable. Let's brainstorm. We can meet regularly, share our work, and help each other refine our ideas. As they talked, Mia realized how far she had come. The feeling of isolation that once consumed her had lifted, replaced by a sense of community and purpose. I never thought I could feel this way again, she admitted, her voice thick with emotion. You both have changed my life. Jake's expression turned serious as he replied, We've all changed each other's lives, Mia. This isn't just about us. It's about creating something that can touch others. We're turning our pain into beauty and hope. Mia's heart swelled with gratitude. She glanced around the bustling restaurant, now a vibrant backdrop to their dreams, and felt a renewed sense of belonging. This was her home, filled with laughter, creativity, and friendship. As they began to sketch out plans for their project, each idea sparked new possibilities. Let's meet tomorrow to start brainstorming titles and themes, Mia suggested, her voice brimming with enthusiasm. Absolutely. I can't wait, Aubrey chimed in, her eyes shining with excitement. Jake raised his glass, grinning from ear to ear. To new beginnings and uncharted paths. To friendship, they echoed, clinking their glasses together. In that moment, surrounded by the warmth of companionship and the promise of new horizons, Mia felt a profound sense of hope envelop her. She was ready to embrace whatever came next, knowing that she was no longer alone in her journey. Together, they would transform their individual stories into a tapestry of resilience that could inspire others to find their own paths to healing. Imagine finding out that the love of your life is caught up in something way bigger and darker than you ever thought. Emily thought Daniel was just hiding a secret, but the truth is so much more explosive. Want to know what she uncovered and how it all played out? Click on the video popping up on your screen and get ready to be blown away.